Hello, welcome to Rose Spins a Yarn. So I'm actually taping this on Monday because yesterday was Father's Day and it was just so hot yesterday. It's really hot today too, but I decided that I needed to get it done. So I didn't tape last week because it was ungodly hot. And then on Monday I planned to tape because I said I have to tape, and we came down to the barn. You know, we're doing baby check or whatever, so we come down to the barn and you know, I'd already done my morning chores early, and then we come down to the barn at about I think it was 9:45 to check on the girls, and there's a baby sticking out of Sandy's behind. So I'm like, yay, let me go grab my camera, you know. And my daughter, she's 6 years old, I really wanted her to see this. I mean, she saw the breedings be done, and I really wanted to see it because I think it's a really great, you know, cycle of life type of stuff. So I went and grabbed my camera, and I'm taping for a few minutes, and then I realized, you know, this isn't progressing. And I've seen hundreds of alpaca babies be born, so I'm thinking that there might be an issue. So I go to close the door and I look out into the aisleway, you know, going, it's not an aisleway, it's a run going into the back field, and I see this white thing laying next to Juliet. Well, it was a baby. So she was already up, dry, and nursing. Well, actually, when she was laying there, she was just laying there motionless, and my heart sank, and I thought, oh my God, we have a dead baby. But it turned out she was just like laying down, because, you know, birthing is apparently a lot of work. So there's the baby. I don't know when she was born. She had to have been born about 7:30 because she was completely dry. The placenta had already passed. And she was up and nursing, and she was already running up and down. So, yeah. So little white baby out of Juliet, and so I come back in, I close the door to the pen, and it's just Sandy in there now, and because Juliet's baby was fine, and I'm like, I gotta go deal with Sandy. And I watched and waited, and for 20 more minutes there was no progress being made. So I started to get a little worried. So I made a panic, you know, I've pulled babies before. I don't panic. The reason I panicked is because my 6-year-old daughter was there, and I really didn't want a bad outcome, if you know what I mean, in front of my 6-year-old daughter. So I panicked a little bit. So I made a phone call to Laura. She teaches crochet here, and she lives right up the road, a friend of mine. And I was like, I need you to come over, like now. And it was kind of funny because what I actually said was, you know, now this is a joke in the store. I called her up and I said, Laura, I need you. Can you stop and pick up some KY and get over here? Don't worry about getting dressed. So I didn't even tell her that there was a baby that might be stuck or anything. So when she got here, she was like, I was assuming it was for the baby. So anyway, so I put some gloves on, got a lot of the KY lube on my hand, kind of, because the baby's legs were like crossed. The baby was in the correct diving position, but the legs were like crossed, and you know, I couldn't get any traction on it. And the mom, Sandy, who normally is not a friendly alpaca, knew she was having potentially some issues. And so she let me put the KY in there, put my hand up there, uncross the legs. She laid down, and I asked Laura to come into the pen with me and just support the baby's head, because you never want to pull on the neck. And I just pulled that baby right out. So here's about a 45-second clip that I taped yesterday from the babies running around. And you know, they were running around, and then of course when I started taping them, they just stood still. But in this clip, they are now 6 days old, because it was yesterday, and they were born last Monday. And so, you know, enjoy this little clip, and I'll also put a picture up of the day they were born in a second. So we've named those two babies. We still have 2 babies due, and as of today, they are a year pregnant. And I know they're pregnant because I did the ultrasounds on them, and they're definitely pregnant. They're driving me bonkers. So I put, we named these 2 babies. I was gonna do a Game of Thrones theme for all the 4 babies born this year, but my husband, you'll see that the second baby, the fawn baby, was born with one ear crooked. You know, sometimes that happens, it's laying in the mom, and you know, it'll straighten out in another week or so. But so my husband wanted to name her a different name. I chose Daenerys for the white one, after Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones, you know, the queen. She's my favorite character in that show, her and Tyrion. So so she was born first. Her name is Daenerys. And then the little fawn girl, I was asking my husband last night, you know, we can't wait for the other 2 babies to be born. We got to name these guys. So I was thinking this and this and this, and he was like, I think her name should be Cindy, because she has that crooked ear and she reminds me of Cindy Hulu from the original Dr. Seuss. So here's that. Okay, welcome back. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to show you some yarns that I've spun in the last week, and one that I forgot to show you last time, which you know, is kind of a fun yarn. So last week I spun this, which is, it's pure merino. It's like pink and brown. Looks, you know, I think I'm going to call it a raspberry truffle. So it's a lot of pink. I think it came out really cool. It's a nice worsted weight, very soft, very soft. So, this is hard to see because it's black with, you know, and I didn't turn the lights on because then I'm going to get washed out because it's the middle of the day. This is black and blue and some gray and light blue soft silk with, of course, Angelina. And then I plied it with a dark blue. And this is, one of these plies is my Bering Sea, Midnight on the Bering Sea Bats. So, you know, I'm a big Deadliest Catch fan too. And so Midnight on the Bering Sea. And so this is Alpaca, silk, sparkle, and merino. I hope you could see it, let's see. Okay. This I spun for a customer, and hopefully she'll be picking it up on Wednesday. This is from my Bats spring bouquet that I do every spring. And I do one in pinks, and I do one in like a lavender purple, and I do one in yellows, I did one in green one year. I probably have to do that one again too, but it's kind of not like a flower. There's like no green flowers. But anyway, so did this for a customer. Worsted weight that she wanted. Now, here's an interesting one. So I got neps in. Now, I've made my own neps over the years where I just like cut up, you know, if you ever have a weak fleece, like you had an animal that was sick or that went to a show and was stressed, you might get a break in a fleece. Now, you can't send that fleece to a mill because it would definitely break and nep up, which, I mean, makes, you know, nice art yarn, but it's also a weaker yarn when it goes through the mill and it's, you know, not being hand spun and incorporated with other stuff. So I've made my own neps by taking weak fleeces and cutting like maybe 1/3 of an inch along the staple length, and then kind of shocking that, you know, dyeing it and then kind of shocking it by putting it in hot water and then cold water and then hot water and then cold water. And then you have these little neps that are like silk noil or any of the other waste we put in our art bats to get texture. So I bought some noils, but these are so round that they are really much better for, see how round that is? And I love these. I mean, I bought them and, you know, I sell them in my store in packages of rainbow colors, black and white. Rainbow colors and black and white. And so I said, oh my goodness. I said, I totally want to put that into some yarn. And I think it came out fantastic. However, this is just gray merino. And you know, merino's not very sticky, meaning barbs on it. And this is plied with a metallic thread because I tried to stick those neps in a little bit more. So, and I'm going to put up a picture right now of the bat, how it looked. Before I spun it, and I thought the bat was fantastic looking. But a lot of them fell out when spinning, and they still seemingly are going to fall out. So this yarn won't be for sale unless somebody wants to buy it and use it very genteelly, like not as a garment. I'm thinking of just taking my little pearl and loop looms and making some mug rugs with it. But anyway, so I'm going to try with the neps again, the commercial neps that I bought, but with a sticky fiber, maybe with like Romney or a Jacob or something. Maybe it'll stick a little more. If not, then I'm just going to say that these neps are felting neps because they look awesome with, if you take a silk hanky and you put some in there and then you know, cover it with another silk hanky, or, you know, you had a silk gauze in the bottom and the silk hanky on top or whatever. They look awesome. So they're really great for felting, needle or wet. And I just really wanted to try them in my spinning. But, so, anyway. I really think the effect is awesome looking, but, you know, I like to make yarn that is not only pretty, but also usable and won't fall apart. All right, so here's two yarns I finished last week. And, you know, these are my original signature yarns called All Colors Thick and Thin, right? Because they're spun however they want to spin, right? Consistently and consistent. And these are all colors that, you know, I just pretty much pull out of a bag. These are the ends of my bats. And then I usually ply it with just a thin yarn that I've spun of merino. And again, whatever was on my bobbin. So, you know, these are small hanks because I didn't have much left on my bobbin. But I have so much fun with these. I mean, look at that. So those are two that I just washed. And then this, I did a couple of weeks ago, but I forgot to show it to you. This is super coils. And I'll put a picture up of this as well so you can get to see some more of the texture. But these are super coils, and you can see it is balanced. And, you know, I mean, that is just crazy, right? Again, not you know, when I do this is haphazardly. I don't count my treadles. Well, actually I spin on an electric wheel, so, but you know, I remember years and years ago, I wanted my beehives to be in exact spots. So I would count my treadles, and you know, I don't do that anymore because so a lot of people do that and it looks awesome, but I like it to be kind of inconsistent and just funky. And then when you're knitting, it's basically, you know, you don't need anything but like just a basic stockinette or garter with this, and the yarn's going to do all the work. So that was one of my things from last week. So let's talk. Let's talk about some new fiber in the store. So we know the Tour de Fleece is only a couple of weeks away, and I got in tons and tons of new fiber. I got in a bunch of colors of this, and this I posted to my Facebook page last week. This is called Fire Ruby, and what it is merino mixed with rainbow Firestar, and I mean it's just breathtaking. I love red, so I just think that this is awesome, and I have this in several colors. So this is the red, right, which it's really like a ruby, like a cranberry. It's a really nice color, and then here it is in, I call this sapphire because it's like kind of a sapphire blue, and I have it in black and like a grayish, greenish gray. So these are really cool. Now, if you're looking to spin something that you've never spun in the tour, you know, I think my new tagline is going to be from alpaca to Zwarbles. Now, I know I'm probably not saying that correct because for weeks I was saying Zwartables, but there's no A in the middle of the Zwart and the bulls. So I have to hear somebody say it. I should probably go and see if somebody's saying it online somewhere. But here's the name. So Zwartables. I like saying Zwartables, Zwartables, Zwartables. I just think it's a cool name. So I think my new tagline is going to be from alpaca to Zwartables. Zwartables. And so anyway, so Zwartables, to me, it feels like it would spin similarly to like a Jacob. It is a it's between 3 3/4 and 4 3/4 staple length, so it's a long fiber, so it'd be very easy for a spinner to spin, and it is 30 to 32 microns, so it is you know, for me it's next to skin soft, but I'm not sensitive. Probably wouldn't be next to skin soft for everybody, just like Jacob is not and Romney is not, but for a beginner, and it is an inexpensive fiber, and for a beginner it would be just give them so much confidence. So if you're a beginner spinner and you want to get some practice and confidence under your belt, Zwartables might be the way to go, or Jacob or Romney, something like that, well prepped fiber. So yeah, so now we're carrying Zwartables, and it is, you know, it's like a cocoa brown, blackish. It's I definitely want to spin this for the tour because I've never spun it. Now, you know that anybody who's doing the Tour de Fleece, I would think, knows that it's based on the Tour de France, which is a bike ride through France that they do every year. And so it's in France. So I made sure that I have some Rambouillet in stock. Now, Rambouillet is called French Merino. So it is a 20 to 23 micron, super, super soft, super, super squishy. But the difference with it is that it is a 3 3/4 staple length fiber. So it is longer than your typical merino. Let me just see if I could shut that off. I don't know. So it is longer than your typical merino. because typical merino is like 2 3/4. So this is like a full inch longer. So if you're looking for something really soft and you want something a little longer of a staple length than just traditional merino, because traditional merino, if you're spinning it from a top, you pretty much have to do the short forward draw because it's so short, unless you're going to put it into a roll lag or a bat. Which, remember my tip from last week, if you can't get something thin enough from a top and you know you could spin that thin, you might want to do a different prep, and a roll lag or a bat would be the way to go. So yeah, Rambouillet, French merino, very, very soft. So I'm going to definitely get in more Rambouillet, because I'm going to do some hand-dyed braids out of Rambouillet instead of just on merino, and probably not for a few weeks though, because, well, the tour is almost here and I have babies and other stuff, and you know. And I also have some gradient packs that I've gotten in, and you know, so here's like a bright rainbow. So you know, you've got like hot pink and like grass green and yellow and orange and turquoise. And so I've got some of those in, which are really fun. This is 8.8 ounces, so that's a lot. You can either spin them separately or spin them all together. I'd probably spin them all together as a rainbow, because that's just me. I like bright colors. And I also have, if you could see, and I'll make sure I put these pictures up. This is the blues, so it's 5 different color blues. And I also have gradient packs, and this is 8.8 ounces as well. It's 250 grams, so about 8.8 ounces. So I also have this in green and purple and the black grays. You know, this is, you know, everybody's doing gradients today. You know, people would, you know, doing the find your fade and all of these gradient shawls and these asymmetrical shawls, and this is a great way to do it without having to try to figure out what blues go together or what greens go together. So, so I have these in stock too. So, all right, so Tour de Fleece. Today is the 19th, and Tour de Fleece starts July 1st. So I will be announcing the prizes that the folks that are in my Ravelry group that are going to spin on the team are eligible for sometime this week. And we are, if you're local and you spin and you want to be part of our team, you have to, you know, kind of be part of our team on the Ravelry group. We're going to be having a kickoff here at the store Saturday, July 1st. And so everybody who's spinning on the team is going to come, and we're just going to hang out, and there'll probably be lots of food and, you know, stuff like that, because, you know, we eat when we spin, and a lot of food in the store typically when we're spinning. And so you know, go to the Rav group. The name of my Rav group is the Yarn Shop at Alma Park, and I'll make sure I put a link at the end in the above the comment section so that you can see that. And we will be meeting here several times a week for the entire tour. We're also going to have, if you are not local, we have set up Google Hangouts, and we're going to, anytime we get together, which is going to usually be Wednesdays and Saturdays, anytime we're together and spinning, we are going to post a Google link in the Rav group, and you guys could spin along with us. So, you know, it'll be fun. So you won't be able to kind of eat with us in person or spin with us in person, but you'll definitely be able to spin with us via, like, you know, Google Hangouts is like a Skype call, a group Skype call. So we're going to do something like that. And so that information will be in the Ravelry group, in the chat and section. And anybody who's local, you know, more than welcome to come and hang out at the store anytime that, you know, Wednesdays and Sundays are usually when the spinners are here hanging out. Of course, I'm open Wednesday through Saturday. I mean, Wednesday and Saturdays. I'm open Wednesday through Saturday. So, you know, feel free to come on down and hang out with us and spin. And I think that's all I have this week. I mean, you know, between the babies and checking for the babies. Oh, I know, I forgot. I wanted to show you some of the stuff I plan to spin for the tour. So, first of all, if you've ever been to IKEA, you know these big blue bags? So I've got my big blue bag full. Probably add some more stuff over the week. So I am going to do, I have these Rolex that I made up a couple of years ago, and of course I've never spun them, and I love Rolex, but these are just some, you know, they're like reds and purples and burgundies, and this is I'm pretty sure it's Romney. I have to go look, but you know, this is Romney. There's some Rolex. So I plan to spin some of that. And I washed Lizzie, who is one of my alpacas. If you go to the Rav group, you'll see a picture of her. And she's kind of like a burgundy brown, like a reddish brown. So I washed her. I have to still card her. But I'm thinking I'm going to mix her with some of that fire ruby. Yeah, because you know I don't want to just spin boring alpaca all by itself. I want some art bats, so I'll probably put some texture in there, maybe some silk waist, and you know, and I think this red. So Lizzie, and you know, I've got a bunch of bats and stuff that I couldn't put up for sale because either they were not the right weight, or I made a mistake, or you know, it was only going to be one run of a certain color, and I wanted to keep one just because I wanted to spin it. And then I've done, you know, this was one of my mistake bats because this is a panda top and it fell apart in the dye pot. So I know I have to like hand paint these from now on, panda top. But this was one of my Mardi Gras braids that I couldn't sell, and I'm going to do a fractal spin on this. The last time I did a Mardi Gras braid, which I showed in a prior podcast, I did it and I applied it with sequined thread, and it looks, I think it looks fantastic, but I don't want to do that again. So I think I'm going to do a fractal spin on that. And what else? I don't know. Bag, you know, one of my crazy bat bags, you know, all the ends of the bats I make. Probably do that. So I got a whole bag of this stuff here. My ultimate goal is to spin the entire fleece of Lizzie, which is, I think she's about 1.5 pounds, and then when I do the add-ins and everything, I have fiber all over my nose. When I do the add-ins, she is, you know, 1.5 pounds plus the add-ins. It'll probably be, let's see, that's 24, I don't know. 15 bats, maybe 30, maybe 2 pounds of fiber. So I want to spin her totally, and I want to be able to get at least 20 skeins of full-size skeins of yarn so that I can put them up in the shop, because my handspun section is sorely lacking right now, and I really want to get ready for the upcoming season. So at least 20 skeins and all of Lizzie. And when I say a full-size skein, I mean like 3.5 to 4 ounces. So those are my goals. Maybe Lizzie in its entirety is a stretch. So now I am going to break, and I am actually going to do, because people have been asking me, so I'm going to do some adjustments on the Alouette S10 concept wheel. It's a double treadle, Irish tension. And I'm just going to do some adjustments to show you for new folks, because I've been getting a lot of feedback from new people that are like, I don't know how to adjust my wheel. You know, somebody local one time told me that their mojo was totally gone, they couldn't spin, and I sat down at the wheel and I just adjusted it a little bit and I was able to spin, and then she was able to spin. So it really wasn't her mojo. She must have touched the adjustment and couldn't get it back to where she, you know, where her sweet spot was. So I'm just going to show you a couple of adjustments on your wheel. On a, you know, I'm a Alouette dealer, so I'm going to show it to you on a Alouette wheel. And I am happy to, you know, talk to people through my Google Hangouts if you guys have any questions. What I'm thinking of doing is maybe once a month opening Google Hangouts, and maybe people can ask me questions, or, you know, get some, you know, just some need to get some pointers or whatever, I'm thinking about doing that, because I think that'd be really good, because I've done Skype lessons before, you know, one-on-one lessons. That's a paid service, so, you know, I'm always open to that. But I'm thinking about doing like once a month a Google Hangout call where, you know, I let 5 or 6 people, you know, in to the call, and then you guys can ask questions. And so if anybody's interested in that, you know, comment below and let me know if that is something that you'd be interested in. And because I know people are asking me questions, and without me seeing what you're doing, you know, if you come into my store, I'll be happy to help you. But if I can't see what you're doing, there's no way I can help you. It's, you know, unless it's something simple like the yarn keeps going into the bobbin too quickly. Well, your tension's too high. I mean, that's simple, but I'd like to see it so that I could diagnose it, and you know, maybe we could do that a couple of minutes, and maybe you guys could get some help with maybe some issues you're having. So anyway, I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to go and get the wheel and set up the camera for the wheel and show you a couple of the points to look out for, stuff like that. And so that'll be in a minute. So I'm going to say bye-bye. Until later, until next week, and enjoy. So this is Rose Spins a Yarn. Have a great week, guys. Thanks. Hello. Okay, so this is an S10 concept wheel, and it is Irish tension, meaning bobbin lead. Okay. And it's a double treadle. Now, the thing that I see the most is that folks have this set too tight. This is your tension, okay? It's a leather strap and it tightens here. Now, if this is too tight, it is going to pull the yarn out of your hands into the bobbin. So you want to adjust this. And as your bobbin fills, you're going to probably have to adjust it, because as you get more weight on the bobbin, you might have to get a little more tension, because it's going to need to pull in. So this is your tension. So this is the thing I see the most. The most common thing is people have this too high, meaning it's pulling the yarn out of your hands, or too low, and you're overspinning it and you're getting all those, you know, like all those little pigtails. Now, a little bit of pigtails, you know, it is not a big deal. Most people have it, I get them. But, you know, when you have like this much fiber out there and it's all pigtailed, or it's all like overspun, then you know that your tension is too low. If it's pulling it out of your hands, your tension is too high. Okay, so that's one thing I see. So play with this. Get some, you know, whether you're a new spinner or you just got a new wheel, because every time I switch to go to a new wheel, I need a few minutes to get used to him or her. So, you know, there's no shame in you practicing a little. So you want to get, you know, you want to get your adjustments done. And for what I suggest is when you get a new wheel, okay, or if you're a new spinner, what you're going to want to do is get some inexpensive fiber to practice with. You know, don't come here and get a yak silk blend on a brand new wheel and think that you're going to make, you know, nice yarn, because right off the bat, you want to use something that's inexpensive and something you can practice with. So this is the thing I see the most common, is people don't adjust this properly. Remember, if it's too high, it's going to pull the yarn out of your hands. If it's too low, your yarn's going to overspin. Okay? Another common thing I see is people are just treadling so fast. I know the Tour de Fleece is, you know, in a couple of weeks, but you're not trying to win a marathon. You know, go slow. And if you need to sit here and practice your treadling to get slow and consistent, then you just need to do that. You just need to sit here and practice and go slow. Now, the good thing about the concept wheel is that it has a hole. Now, that hole is there to balance out the wheel, and it has some engineering value. But what I like it for is because you can count the revolutions very easily, right? So, each revolution is going to put some twist into your yarn, right? So when I first started, I would count the revolutions on my wheel to make sure I wasn't going too fast, okay? Now when you're plying, you could ply as fast as you can, deal with it. But when you're spinning, if you spin too much, if you treadle too fast, then you're gonna have some overspun yarn. So you're gonna wanna count your revolutions until you get used to your wheel. And just be conscious and say, I'm treadling too fast, okay? Now, if you treadle too quickly when you're plying and you get too much twist in your ply, you're gonna also have rope. So, 30, 40 degrees, between 30 and 40 degrees on a protractor is what you really want your twist angle to be, okay? So those are the two things I see the most common. Those are the majority of things I see. And so that's what, I wanted to mention to you today, because maybe that is just somebody's aha moment out there. Next time we could talk about ratios, okay, and what they mean to your spinning. If you have questions you would like to know, troubleshooting your wheel, as I said, comment in the comment below my podcast here, and I'll be happy to try and address them on a future podcast. And as I said, I think I'm going to try to do a monthly Google Hangout for questions and comments. So thank you, and until next time, enjoy your spin. Bye-bye.